topics for my talk, so get comfortable. For those of you who don't know, I've been scheduled 2 other times in the last, what was it, in 8 months, and the last 2 I had to cancel because there were storms. So I wanted you to know that I didn't bring one today. Luckily. Anyway, when I just heard that hymn, you know, Spiritualists for a long time, we've been a wonderful group for rewriting song lyrics. And when I hear that, I think of Reverend Ben Cox, and he played the organ and the piano and sang, and he spoke in a lot of different churches over the years, and he would play that in triple time. And so we were going, Lord, like, hallelujah, Lord, God. And so fast that, you know, it's like, okay, I can keep up. Okay, so that's not one of the topics. Where to go. So I wanted to speak today about meaningful life. Those of you who don't know me, and that's the majority of you in the audience here today, is the fact that it will be my 50th year next year. And I've been a teacher and a speaker and a minister all those years. Right, gray hair. And so the interesting thing is the progression of it, because you know, when you go on MSNBC on your computer, and I do that in the morning, and just sort of to check the weather, and then every so often to see if anybody else has some good news. Or if there's just anger, frustration, and hostility in the world, and so then I can click it off. But the amazing thing with that is that I reached a point where I want such hope for all of us throughout life, and that's something I've been speaking about for all of these years. Hope and potentials, because we all have them. And so today I wish to speak with you about your meaningful life. And the fact is that some of you grew up in maybe circumstances that weren't quite as easy for you, or families that were struggling, or around people that were questionable in terms of even their parenting skills. I grew up in a very different type of lifestyle, and that's what makes me special. But the special is what each of you are. And so one day I was driving along, and I was feeling kind of puny. I know some of you don't go through days of feeling puny, and I've lost 2 sizes worth of clothes and weight in the last several months, so my puniness is punier. Anyway, I was driving along, and Jimmy Buffett was singing, and I did not really foster a great deal of oomph about Jimmy Buffett and being a parrot head or whatever we're called, and doing truck tailgate part. That wasn't my forte. However, the song was wonderful, because some of the music always has a buoyance and a joy and a bounce to it. And this song, Mark, you look very serious. We're going to laugh in just a second. This song was the hokey pokey, is it really what it's all about? You didn't go through that when you were little? Do you know that a lot of the time when you see your life today, it's because of things that you may not have accomplished, or thought that you succeeded in, or done, or all the money on the planet that you didn't make and that you shoulda, woulda, coulda, and all of that, and it takes away all that meaning, and it really was about the hokey pokey. But you know what I had trouble with? the imagery of a teapot. I never felt like a teapot. You didn't go through that? And yet, we learned it, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was magical, wasn't it? Because within you, you have this meaningful, wonderful place called imagination. And that's what is a part of our society today. And it can be turned into fear like that. And it can be taken away with great hope like that. And you have the ability within you at any moment to take whatever the circumstances are, whatever the experiences are, whatever your mood is, whatever you're going through, how drastic, how challenging, how difficult, and you have a chance to see the hope in it. The hope might be very small or seem very tiny at the time. And yet it might be very vast and big because you don't know what the future will hold. Isn't that amazing? Mm-hmm. I know in my future that I'm going to become an expert. Have you noticed on MSNBC and all of those other places, and this, I don't take a cell phone and keep it in my face all day, but I know none of you do either, she said, with tongue-in-cheek. But, how many things are you observing where some authority figure or some expert is speaking on it or writing about it? And so we read it and we think it's like, yeah, that's a big deal. So I want to be an expert. I figured chocolate's a good place to start. I might not know what all the different cocoa beans are from different regions of the world. However, I still love chocolate. How about you? And you may not find that with chocolate, but the expert thing, to be an authority. Because I've taught natural law all these years, and I speak about it almost all the time, because it's a part of life, it's a part of our opportunity to expand, it's an opportunity to observe ourselves, and it's a wonderful thing to have a comprehension about it to some degree. But a lot of people read a book and they think they have studied it and that's all they need. And so that works for them, that's great. For me, natural law is a part of my life and I'm constantly discovering more and more and more and more about it. Discovering more and more about the potentials of all things that exist. I didn't pay attention to our clock when I started speaking, so Terry's going to have to pull out a cane and put it around my neck and get me to sit down, I think. But I want to tell you those 4 topics. Well, we've hit 2 of them so far, so you're safe. So what happens for you when you're looking for the value of you and you're looking for your life to be meaningful? Are you looking to be the best of a particular skill? Are you thinking that because you didn't develop the best in that particular skill, that there's no way that you can be considered successful? Well, I got news for you. The greatest thing any of us will do is to attempt anything. Anything. Because what that does is it adds to the very spirit of you, and it adds to that infinite constantly. That infinite that we speak of is constantly expanding. It expands and expands, and it will forever expand because of the next blink of your eyes, the next breath that you take, the next relationship that you allow yourself to embrace or enjoy, the next, the next, the next, the next. Why is that? Isn't it because we often get bored? Isn't it often because then we get sometimes fixated that only this can work and that will? I don't use a lot of notes to give talks anymore, because what I want to do is I want to see what's out there and ahead of all of us, because right this minute we have a wonderful relationship, and that relationship is partly connected to the energetic movement of all of us as a creation together. You may not know me, I don't know a lot of you, but that doesn't matter. What matters most is the expansion of self, because we're here and there's something we want to experience. I sat in the very back during the healing. I don't do that very often anymore. Years ago, before I got into this work professionally, I trained and studied and went to churches 4 nights a week, and I participated in classes, in groups, in home circles, and constantly was recognizing how I could fill up and how I could take in more and more. And not because of robbing anybody else. That infinite is infinite. There's a big word there, infinite. It kind of means bigger than a bread box. Larger than a microwave. And probably vaster than we can ever project on. The meaningfulness of your life is that you are already the best version of you walking. You are already the most talented you're going to be in this moment. Does it mean there are more opportunities? Sure. Does it mean that you need to go back to school, take lessons? Not necessarily. What you get to do is to participate in whatever you feel will bring you the hope and allow you the fullness of the potential today and in the future. I may never see any of you again. I'm at an age where I may check out at any time, and I know that. And I know one thing. You've touched my life because I've been allowed to speak. And I've touched your life because I've given you an image of chocolate you're going to take home. But I want to tell you, Publix makes different types of chocolate chip cookies. They have their regular chocolate chip cookies. They have vegan chocolate chip cookies. They have chocolate chunk cookies. And then they have Greenwise chocolate chip. The Greenwise are almost always gone when I go to look. But the Greenwise are crispy crunchy. And they have a little different flavoring. So I want you to know, if you ever find them at Publix, buy them, put them in the freezer. I hope to be coming back. The meaningfulness of your life is the fact that you can find joy with menial things, and you can find humor in it as well. When we drive, and all of our lives have been changed in the last some years. They've been changed because our population expands, construction expands, our streets are, there's a lot going on. And the amazing part of it is Some people fight that change. And I know what that's like to fight that change, where I have lived for the last many years, and it includes a very old house. Did I mention it was old? It was built in 1910, and I think it was decorated about then too. Anyway, but what I'm getting at is the meaningfulness of your life isn't the fact that you're going to do one great thing. The meaningfulness of your life is that you're going to attempt a whole lot of other things. And from that, the very spirit of you is accelerated, expanded, or feels just those moments of levity and enjoyment, or at least some sense of a fulfillment. That fulfillment is something that the very cellular structure of your body benefits from. You benefit every time you try something. You benefit every time you look and say, wow. So yes, I was a teapot. But I never really felt like it. How many things in your life and growing up did you ever do that you did them because you should, or because everybody else was doing them, or whatever, and then you found out later that, okay, that was an experience, we're done here. Lots, aren't there?
Yes.
But you know all those attempts that you make? Those are the successes. I tried to be a cheerleader in the early years of my life. I pulled muscles that I didn't even know existed. And then being knock-kneed, it wasn't exactly exciting. And that wasn't even pom-poms. How about you? What did you do all the years of your life that might have been so humiliating, difficult, challenging, and yet you got through it? You got through it, and you're here today, and you have a moment to laugh, you have a moment to embrace, and you have a moment to heal. It may not be a perfection healing. It may not be 100% of all the things either on your mind or going on with your physical health and well-being. But what it is moments. And those of you who have heard me a lot over the years, our lives are moments tied end to end. That's what they are. And those moments create the beautiful tapestry of who you are and how you are. Not because somebody else says you have value, not because somebody else says you're going to do this and that, not because somebody gives a great prediction and makes you think suddenly that you need to become a something else that you don't feel like you are. Been there, done that one. Tried for so many years to fit into pictures of who I thought I should be. Well, let me tell you about should. Ram Dass used to talk and say, I'm tired of being should upon. Has a hint in it. If you think there's something even today that you should do because in order for you to be valued by other people, by your boss, by your family, by your lover, by your spouse, by your children, whoever, think again. If it's something you want to do, if it's something you feel drawn to do, that's different. Participate with choices so that the meaningfulness is that if and when you ever take a last breath, here on earth. And all of you have opportunity, being in this room at this time, to have a comprehension that there is no death and there are no dead. And if you don't fully understand that, allow yourself just to recognize there is an essence in you that goes on forever. The soul of you wants to create, and it doesn't know how to create with your conscious mind, attitude, and self-acceptance. It creates in whatever direction you're focused in. And that's not the internal vision, that's the internal feeling. Your feelings, the sensing part of you is the first sense that develops. Have you ever noticed a baby? Have you ever noticed an animal? Their little head will move. They sense something. Same thing with us. Give yourselves a chance because you have meaningful lives. And if you don't think that because you didn't whatever, I just want you to know that all of us in this room have had challenge. All of us have had perceptions of who we should be, ought to be, could be. Well, that's in the past. But the future holds unlimited potentials. And the future and today is full of the infinite no matter what you do and where you go. And if there's no chocolate, or if chocolate isn't your favorite thing, maybe it would be a good thing to do, to have something that you believe in and something that you enjoy, even if it's a small version. The greatest success any of us will experience is that we've made attempts. The greatest success and meaningful life for any of us is the fact that we're different than who we were when we learned the hokey pokey. But you know what's really interesting? Is the minute that you say hokey pokey, almost everybody understands at any moment you can turn yourself around.
That's right.